Good evening and welcome to the final league game of what has been a very entertaining season 12 of the Super League. And yes, as my little name graphic there says, it's my last league game week as chair. So emotional times to be had. And aside from my customary cup of water in my new Fool's Rush In mug, I'm trying to be celebratory of the tenure that has been. I've even got a toffee apple cider in for this evening as well. It's going to be entertaining, and I'm pleased to say that we have got two guest commentators. There's only one currently on the screen because just as the music stopped, we got a message to say that his laptop's gone to shit. But as per the message in the group chat, it's the perfect intro for the final. One has hair, one has not, one has a star, and one got bummed by Mido. Evening, Duggan and Ryan.
Yes, mate.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Fyfie. Evening, Duggan. Hope everyone's well.
Yes, very welcome back, Ryan. You're back in as a manager for next season. You're back in running the show as part of the major 12,000 people consortium taking over the Super League, and you're back on everyone's screens tonight.
Well, isn't everyone lucky? That's what I'm going to say. This just for the latter one, really. Back on the screens, it gives everyone something to aspire to, doesn't it? So yeah, I hope everyone's well. It's a pleasure to be back.
and Duggan, you've been during my tenure in charge, you've been one of the fan favourite co-commentators because at times it's been absolute chaos and carnage. So I'm sure you're ready to bring that to the proceedings this evening.
Yeah, hopefully, mate. And like I said, I think I tweeted today that thank fuck we have got that red queue, because I'd have been nowhere near co-coms or probably the stream last night if we hadn't got that queue. The last kind of, maybe not the Vikings game because that was really comfortable, and actually Rocks and Macca made it really easy because I was just laughing at them for the full 90. But that Gazelles game where we won 1-0, I actually left me headphones and was standing at the bedroom door. I couldn't.
You went fully in Edwards on us.
Oh yeah, I couldn't, and it's not like me. I could not watch the last 10 minutes of it. So yeah.
You beat me to that comment then, Fyfie. Ian Edwards style pacing up and down the kitchen.
No, if you remember, I was the pacer. He stands the stillest bloke I have ever seen stand still. Like that, doesn't move for 10 minutes. It's incredible watching Ian watch his own side. Duggan, I'm sure you won't mind. I've put a little fixture list ghost games permitting together, and it doesn't have Dragons last because your game ultimately doesn't really matter.
Yeah, absolutely fine. I think really Coast Dragons is probably far down the bottom of the list in terms of being relevant. Really, I think
you're bang in the middle. You're game number 4 on my list. Just because the only reason because Burn and Coast are still technically battling it out for the top 2, so there's still something on it. But before we get into that, Ryan, you've been here, you've done it, you've got the stars. So first, talk to us about coming back in as Fulchester. How excited are you for the challenge next year?
I'm buzzing, really. I've been a bit busy a lot this year, kind of thing. House move, lots of stuff going on at work, but things have settled down a bit recently. Got back into watching the streams, and obviously then Duggan messaged me probably a couple of months ago now about a potential future kind of co-chairing in the league, and then I was kind of like, well, how's that going to work? Is there going to be a club available for me to come back in? That was kind of a prerequisite for me. And then, Mac had kind of said that with his new job, he wants to step back. So it did kind of make sense. So yeah, but I was very much in the kind of the Vikings Fulchester corner in terms of I think they got a bum deal, a raw deal. Therefore, then a little bit apprehensive taking over Fulchester, thinking, oh well, I've got a lot to. I mean, I've got a reputation here, and it's going to be tough to live up to that squad. But obviously since the window's opened, really, really loving it, and loving, absolutely abusing everyone in the DMs and getting some business over the line. So yeah, excited about the coming season, but also very excited about the remainder of this season as well. I still think there's a lot of football still to be played.
There certainly is a lot of football still to be played, and obviously you're both key protagonists in the future. So Duggan, as sort of the figurehead behind it, if you like, are you excited for what the future of what the Super League has in store as well?
Yeah, look, I think we've been almost too lucky with your good self, Fyfie, that was able to basically run it as a one-man show. And I think what became really apparent, maybe 6 to 8 weeks ago when kind of things in your life started picking up, was that actually we needed to kind of rethink how it was ran, and that actually it wasn't realistic or reasonable to expect somebody to come in and run it as a one-man show. Nor do I think it would be in the best interest of the league, because I think you were a bit of an anomaly in that sense. So yeah, the whole idea of it is, kind of consensus and kind of collaboration, so that we all kind of get to build it into what we want it to be, really.
Nice. Well, look forward to still playing a part, however small that is, going forward. But let's not look too far ahead. We still have a season to conclude. And, let's go through this. So I looked through the fixtures, and again, ghost games permitting, I'd want to go Rose Celtics, Badgers Stanley, get those two out of the way where there's nothing on it, and then do Coast Dragons, Burn, Triple P, which will be the battle of the top 2 then, and then the 3 games that really matter to conclude. I think I've done it in the right order by going Fulchester Casuals, Gazelles, Astor, then finish with Vikings, Haggis. Sound about right?
Yeah.
Excellent. No, that's not. No, let's not get carried away with comments about Fyfie. Let's keep it on task, lads. Come on. So, Rose Celtics. I'm going to go. Let's have a look. So, Dragons are away. So, Ryan, I'll give you all the home sides tonight, and I'll give Duggan all the away sides. And perfect. So, let's go with the away side, Duggan. Obviously, we got the last game was the debut of Peter Greaves after PR Greaves was unceremoniously sacked after a pickup in form, it was fair to say, and his brother didn't get off to the best start, conceding to Tamudo in Sigalko's absence in a 1-0 defeat. You'll be pleased to know, though, that the all-out defence tactic has gone, and just as defensively looking tactic has come in, but he's called it savage-inspired because there are no arrows.
Yeah, I mean, look, the first thing is that there's only one Mike Savage in this league now, and there only ever was one Mike Savage. So again, I think Greavesy's setting himself up for a little bit of a bashing here if this goes tits up. I know he's been very active, trying to kind of think about how things are going to look next season. But ultimately, I think Super League now is about kind of trying to dominate teams and trying to win and trying to win well, and that isn't something that Greavesy does, and it isn't something that Greavesy likes. Haggis have had his number for the best part of 3 or 4 seasons, and I think there'll genuinely be some real. I said at the start of the season that if he didn't do well, there'll be pressure on him. I think even more so next season, there's going to be big pressure. That flat 4 should do it across the middle, but the two DLs and DRs are always the 2 players really.
So obviously a lot of focus already with teams that have nothing to play for, in a sense, is going to be on next year. But when you look at just this 11, this might not be a tactic you would choose yourself, but there are plenty of good players, and it's one of those you wonder how it's all petered into nothing, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'd be interested, Ryan, kind of, I know you're doing the home teams, but just as an outsider looking in, obviously we're immersed in the kind of, we've been immersed in the kind of Super League threads and Greavesy v Haggis and giving each other shit on a Monday morning and all that sort of stuff. Where do you think it's went wrong for him this season?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, first off, I'll say that I buy into Greaves' his style. I buy into the Catenaccio. I love it. I think he's a fantastic character for the league, even if he is a bit of a cunt. So yeah, I'm not going to go into him on that kind of thing. But I think sometimes you can stick to your guns a bit too much. Sometimes when stuff isn't working, you've got to roll the dice. You've got to flip things on its head. And sometimes being that character and saying I'm going to play defensive and play that way, it can work so far. But when things aren't going right, and you basically you're prioritizing your character, your style above actually getting results, and I think that's what's done him. Because I love his squad. I love Zay Elias, Shevchenko. I think his midfield is fantastic. But yeah, and he's got some top quality defenders there. But I mean, that formation there is it's not going to win. That's the start, middle, finish of it.
I'll second that. I think Greavesy's great for the league. The league needs people who play things differently and keep it interesting. If I was him, I'd be cashing on one of those 3 big DMs that he's got, Gattuso, Davids, or Zay Elias. I think that you can probably get a pretty decent AMC, and that transforms that team a lot with a top class AMC in there, because he hasn't got one.
And other names not involved tonight, you've got Gravson, Takinadi, Raul is obviously probably the biggest name there, not involved. It just stands to reason there is plenty in that squad moving forward.
I think he's looking at that. I'm aware he's done a few deals, and I don't think he's selected anyone that's going out, does he? Maybe he might be able to tell me if I'm wrong there, but I can see that there's a couple of people that I know are leaving the club, and he's not selected them. So it may be that he's just right. I'm not giving them any more minutes. I'm on the. I'm going to pick the people staying.
Well, it's a fair assumption to make. Let's move on to White Rose, another former champion, Ryan, and someone you've had a lot to say about since you've been back in amongst the chat. He keeps the same tactic, 2 changes. Zanoni comes in for Johnson, and Joe Cole and Guerrero swap places. So Cole starts in the centre midfield on his own. Yeah,
he's a bit of a chalk, isn't he? I mean, how he won this league is a mystery to me. I mean, I can only suspect there's foul play there, mate. Because it's Steve fucking right. He was. He was the laughing stock of the Super League season 7, 8. What changed? Don't tell me Luca Toni, because that's not. It's just bullshit.
Luca Toni did change.
So and then he had the audacity. I mean, since I've been back in the chat and giving messages to start coming after me. I mean, he needs to fucking pick his targets, because do you mean?
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to Fulchester Rose next year. That's for sure.
He knows I love him, but He's a joke. But yeah, he's got a world class squad though. I'm not a fan of his front line, but Joe Cole, I believe he's leaving, absolute quality. Nicky Butt, Fulchester legend, great player. I actually like his wing backs in Dede and Finnan. I think the quality, and I think he's got a solid back line as well. I think Lucio as well, isn't the one I think is leaving the club, but I still think he's done some, from what he's told me, he's done some decent business. I think he'll be all right. He should be challenging with that squad for the top 6. Obviously, absolutely miles off this season. Probably where he'll be next season, because you can have all the players in the world, but when you've got Steve Wright managing you, it's.
Well, let's get into the action then. Game number 1 on game week 26. Ryan, a score prediction, please.
It's amazing. No, -1. I think would be the. Let's go. Let's go 1 apiece.
1 apiece, Duggan.
I can't remember what I predicted in Swans League, but I mean, Steve should be beating that formation, I think. So I'm going to go 3-1 White Rose.
3-1 White Rose. Let's find out. Martin says got to be 0-0. Surely in the chat. Wood is here. Evening, pal. Hope you're all well.
Evening, Wooder. Evening, Martin. Stop calling me Shirley.
It's golden oldie, that one.
Yeah.
White Rose arguably being the better side of the opening half hour.
Not got that scoring though, have they?
But no, not really. Shevchenko there with an opportunity. Celtics. Finland.
Sorry, Fano, there was not really much to talk about in that half. What do you reckon of Nicky Franco in this save? Is he the business, or is he a myth as per usual, gents?
For me, he's better than he was in the last one, but he's still not worth any of the hype that half the people in the league give him.
I think he's a one save in 6 for me. Do you mean he can always do it in conference up to Division 1 on the game? Premier League, it's 1 in 6. He gets that good. I don't think he's there for me.
I think given how good the DMs and centre backs are in Super League, you just kind of get a sniff. They're just too physical, too strong, too good at tackling. And I think I said it on comms on Sunday. Steve Wright's loyalty to Nicky Franco this season has cost him a run at the 6. I don't think there's been probably a bigger disappointing player in White Rose's team. Yeah.
Well, I've done Greavesy a great disservice there, because it looked to me as if Rose were arguably the better side, slightly, but Celtics have created more chances. Not one side has had a single shot on target there. I mean, this game really has nothing to talk about.
Absolutely shit from both teams.
This is possibly the best game to have on first if this is going to pan out the way it is.
Yeah, I know. I think Ryan said Lucio's on his way out. That's it. I think a 5 he put in on Sunday night and another 5. So if he has cashed in on him, he's cashed in on him at the right time. But yeah, shit.
I think from the chat though, we can tell where fucking Nicky's going, isn't it? Jens has shot his load on fucking Nicky, and it's just going to be a disaster for Jens. No surprises.
Oh, is it?
I'm assuming that Nicky's going to Vikings. Otherwise, why would he be defending him?
He did follow up with shite in this league, though. But there's really not a great deal. I mean, you can see there. You talk about Nicky Franco. He's had virtually no involvement in this game. He's touched the ball a couple of times, and he's attempted 1 tackle. He's attempted 1 header, not managed to do it, and completed 5 or 7 passes.
Nicky Butt is the only one who's putting a tackle in, isn't he? And Walton Samuel. It's just a really poor performance in it. It's not. You can't really get around it. It's at home against a team playing a gash formation. You need better than that.
The ratings for Celtics look slightly better. They've still got a 5 there, surprisingly for David Beckham. It's still distinctly average though. But the players further forward are seeing a bit more of the ball, Duggan. Yeah,
a bit more of it, but I think it is 2 teams whose morale is probably rock bottom unless. Greavesy's got the new manager bounce, and just really a bit of an odds and sods performance. It's not a side you want to really be looking at and having to rebuild at the minute, because they're both in a bit of a sorry state. Like,
well, Steve has opted for his changes here. Lucio is being replaced by Sand. and central striker Samuel one at the back. Sure, he did this the other day. Zanoni for Guerrero.
It's a little bit of fun, and he's got nothing to play for, which
But
is all on him.
central DMC.
Yeah, but he did this. He did this, and then I was going nuts with him because obviously I wanted Fulchester out. I wanted, Dragons as close to getting that queue as possible, and Fulchester falling out the race were part of that. And then he changed it back at the 60-minute mark. Absolutely. I don't think he quite changed it back, but he changed it back to 2 at the back, and he dominated Fulchester for the last half hour. Fulchester didn't get a sniff the last half hour of that game.
One change for Celtics with Beckham coming off. So change for both sides. No tactical alterations though for Celtics. Will they look at that, going one up top against one at the back as more of an opportunity for them, do you think, Ryan?
I think that if he wasn't playing his character, he would have put a couple of arrows on, then moved someone to AMC or something. But yeah, do you mean stick to his guns? That's Greaves. So there we are. It's like Sim again, isn't it? A lot of kicking the ball around the pitch with absolutely no substance.
Gattuso scores. It's 1-0 to Celtics just before the hour mark. And they look for a second. It goes out for a corner as we pause the game there. I can't remember. It's been so long since you were running it, right? We didn't do the 60-minute subs when you were doing it, did we?
No, we didn't. No.
What have you made of that as an addition?
I don't know. It's I need to see a little bit more of it. I mean, the only thing that I'd say is that I'm in favour of quicker shows, and adding something like this to it sometimes slows things down. But apart from that, giving managers more freedom gives them more freedom. I've been involved in the Super League where any kind of half-time decisions had to be kind of made pre-game, and then anything that was happening in the game was made by the chairman, and so you weren't kind of waiting for things in the chat. So yeah, it's been both ways. It's interesting you said that,
because I was rewatching one of your finals.
I said there was 2 of those, weren't there?
There was, mate. Yeah. And you spent about 10 minutes before kickoff just absolutely making sure that Martin understood your half-time instructions. Obviously, because it was a final, and obviously because you were on comms, but you're like, Martin, I just need to fucking make sure you understand this, mate. And naturally, Henri came on at half-time and scored the winner for you.
The fuck is he doing here? Cole for Neville. He's changing everything. And then Guerrero going next like this. I think this is what Steve's asking for. There's the message. Would you agree that's what I've done there?
No arrows as well, I think.
No arrows on Nicky and Guerrero. Yes, I am broadly in favour of the 60-minute. I think as long as it. Do you mean?
Doesn't take too long.
I think this is a bit silly. This kind of screams of a match with nothing on it.
Yeah.
As for Celtics, they are in the lead. Still playing for pride, boys. They're playing for pride.
Talking about Greaves here and Steve right here. Pride.
Keep his ears. Trust the process, says Greavesy.
I think this could end up a couple now for Celtics.
It's not because Celtics are good.
Well, credit Steve for going for it. No?
Tony should have scored.
It's could do subs only at 45, tactical changes at 60. The game concludes 1-0. 2 former Super League winners here playing out a drab opening game with not much to discuss. But important for Celtics, I think, under the new manager to get a win at the end of the season. Just to have something to play going into the new season. But to be fair, Duggan, you're quite happy to skip this one and move on to bigger and better things, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so, mate. I think that's in the best interest of everyone, League.
Game number 2, we wanted to go to Badgers and Stanley. There they are. So we got the away side here. Swan. So I set up a separate chat so I could send Scott and Swan the team news at the same time. And I got to see what resembled the conversation between them, where Swan said should we just go for it for the last game of the season? I'm not sure if you posted the team in time for everyone to see it, Duggan. So here you go.
Yeah, and this Bostock side, it would probably be close to the top of the list of everyone's picks, even now in terms of a squad. I think Ryan would have bit your hand off for this rather than the Fulchester side. And I know that there are managers across the league that are almost kind of like begging for Scott to kind of come back in and get amongst it again, or for kind of Scott and Swanee to get amongst it again, because if he's not happy with how this season's went, there's massive potential here to cash in on some big names. I've just asked Swanee to send us. There was a Bostock stat that I posted in the chat on Sunday night, and it kind of got lost in the rocks and madness. And essentially, over the last kind of 5 or 6 seasons, however long Bostock have been a thing, and I don't think I've ever seen a bad Bostock side, by the way. There's no team that has a better start over games 1 to 13, but there's no team that has a worse finish from 14 to 26. It's something nuts like, on average, they get 21.25 points every season from 1 to 13, but actually from 14 to 26, they get 12 points. So this again is like another Bostock season where they start off well. They were flying at the top. They were everybody's favourites, hit a little bit of a wobble, and then just absolutely trapdoor. But some of the names in this side are class.
I've got the stat here. You sent it to me, Duggan, as well.
Yeah.
So on average, he'll do 21.25 points after 13 games, which would be quality. That's kind of top 6 level every time, that, and then 12 points on average from 14 to 26. So, and then you also pointed out that after game week 10, Dragons had 4 points and Bostock had 18 points, and it's probably the other way around. Then. So, I mean, the thing that I said was bottle job Stanley seems to be, and they get halfway through a season and then they fall off a cliff. But yeah, it's good that they're going for it tonight. I wouldn't necessarily fall in with the narrative that you suggested there. I don't think it's a great Bostock squad. I think there's a lot of what I would class as champ players on there, champ myth players. I think your Jacks, Pats That's Ugly, Collins, Milewski, Scally. Do you mean these are ones that people go for because they're cheap on a home save?
Yeah, but let's be fair on that point. On that point, so on those names you mentioned there, I'm still not sold on Collins personally, but Jacques has got proven Super League pedigree over a couple of seasons now. Milewski the same, Scally absolutely the same as well. And he was getting, was it last season, Duggan? He was getting like Vieira numbers.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the biggest things I'm looking forward with Ryan kind of being back amongst it, because the landscape of Super League has changed, and I wouldn't necessarily say we joke saying the standards higher and all.
Suggesting Ryan's a dinosaur.
No, yeah, maybe, but this is a man that had Sebastian Deisler and John Allen Boomsong in his team when he won. So imagine if someone was rocking up to the final with John Allen Boomsong and Deisler as an AMC. So
for what it's worth, I still like Boomsong.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that Ryan's going to bring in terms of being new, but I think there's probably a lot of old kind of viewpoints that might just be a little bit compromised.
So should we just throw it out there now that we refer to Ryan as Alf from now on?
Yeah, let's do
that. Swan saying, unbeaten though since I've come in. Which, fair play. And do you know what? So it was nice to see, I did see Scott put a message in the group just sort of explaining his position the other day. And nice, Swan, I made it clear to you guys that Mike was high on my list, Swan was high on my list, and Ryan was on my list of the next 3 to get jobs. So nice to know that Swan actually has a full-time home where he can have a genuine impact next season as well.
I completely agree. I think, I know Scott's got a bit of personal shit's going on, but for someone who's been through that kind of thing, wish him all the best and hope he gets back in it, because we love him.
Although I sort of stumbled across the statement when Swan said it, because I was sure Swan's first game they lost, but he's clarified that was Scott's team that lost that, not his. As for the home side then, right, Badgers have... they've decided to mix it up, and they've also gone one at the back and just throw everyone forward they possibly could. So 2 teams playing one at the back. Are you excited to see goals?
Yeah, it should be a good game. It's a kind of end of season exhibition, just like the first game. I said these two managers are really taking the exhibition point to heart. I'm a really big fan of both managers going for it. Both managers want the back, so yeah, lots of goals, and yeah, I'm a big fan of Tato, also gent. So
I've not really paid too much attention to all the transfer talk, as you know. I was always one for giving the season the respect it deserved and not doing anything until it was finished. But Tato did message me separately just to say, by the way, I sold your boy GVB. And all he got back from me was a shocked face, because as much as he's never going to be considered in the same bracket as Zé Roberto, for example, he's a man who consistently gets numbers at this level. So whatever the deal for that is, I hope Tato has done well out of it. Let's hope we can. Yes, we can. Who went first last time? Ryan did, I think. Duggan, a score prediction, please.
I think that AM line is just going to have a little bit too much for the one at the back. So, Bostock by a couple, I think.
Bostock by a couple, right?
By one, but I think goals, so 2-3.
2-3. I don't know if you saw it. I did flash up this comment. What are the bookies offering on free-time holders next season? Are you going to make the statement early, Ryan? Say that's the only thing you're looking at is for a third star?
You see, I think I've done
anything less is a failure.
I think I've done good business. I think that I will be upset if I don't get top 6, and see how the new starters kind of new players kind of jump in to the squad. But yeah, I'll be going for it. There's no point in being in the Super League if you're not going to try and win it. And
No,
I think I've built a squad which is, it's good enough to be in and around there. I've sent it to a couple of people, and I think I've done. Yeah, I back myself. I back my team. Yeah, 100%. Anyone wants to buy Gabriel Batistuta, just slide into my DMs. Not for cash. If someone put for cash before, that's stupid.
Imar has given Swan Stanley the lead, and Kieran Dyer has gone off injured. Duggan, for me, the obvious one here would be for either Agahawa Swichowski to drop down and bring on possibly DeVio, maybe.
Yeah, or you'd maybe do, Alistair Davey can have a run at AMC in a pointless game. Yeah, see what he's like. Interestingly, I'd probably give Ryan I'd probably say 3-1. I reckon 3-1, 4-1. 3-1 on a price boost. 4-1 on a price boost. But yeah, I think
as described. You happy with those odds, right?
Oh well, I think they're quite good odds. I think if I was a Super League follower, I'd be putting some money on that with Duggan bookies.
Well, apparently, I think it was Campbell was telling us a while back that there used to be like a fake Super League bookie, and go on.
It was the guy who ran. His name escapes me. The guy who ran Timor.
Was it?
Yeah.
And I was like, the drama that is in that thread now and between us. We're all absolute fannies. Can you imagine if there was money changing hands?
Well, what a substitution for Tato, because they've gone from 1 down to 2-1 up. DeVio level things up. Van Nistelrooy 27 minutes. And they get a third. And it's Swichowski's first ever Badgers goal as well. Badgers are running riot. You picked the wrong AM line, Duggan.
Did indeed, mate.
Can they get a fourth before the break? Fine, safe and Khan. I think that was Van Nistelrooy missing the latest opportunity.
I think just as we reach half time here as well, Fyfie, that wheel penalty shootout this afternoon, by the way, the fact that it ended that way was absolutely fucking class. Such like I actually lied to me missus about what I was watching on my phone. She asked me what I was watching, and I lied because I was like, I am watching a spinning wheel on a 23-year-old game, pretending that this is penalties in a cup final that doesn't even exist and was made up. I've wasted my life.
But you can't deny, as much as you hate the wheel, you love the wheel, don't you?
I'm all for the madness. Sprinkling the madness, just is fucking great. And the fact that that I had to zoom in like 5 times to see that just the little nipple hair was in goal was fucking brilliant, honestly.
Well, it was like, I mean, I very much enjoyed that it ended that way. I think it was you yourself, actually, Doug, that said that Rob winning it via a wheel would be textbook Triple P. And then I think it was Martin said to see that Dan was leaning right in to see, and everyone calling for VAR and goal decision systems to come in.
And that, he had his mate round. Dan had his mate round.
He did.
You know, his mate was watching an imaginary wheel, like, oh. Class.
Tato is going to 60. I'm not sure. So he's put, no question, I'm dreadful, despite being 3-1 up. Bizarre. No, I did see it.
Edward said he's going to get top 4 next season. I think that's what he's referring to when he says I'm dreadful. But I think he's all right.
Oh, I see. Okay. No, I missed that one. Toe Madeira for Collins. And he's going 3 up top.
Sticking with Montella on a 5.
He is indeed. Just make sure Toe Madeira for Collins, Tomad and King go up top. I mean, again, this is an end of season exhibition, as you were calling it, Ryan. But you're a fan of, chasing a game, going 3 up top like that, trying to enforce a change in the result.
Am I a fan of it, or do I think it works?
Both.
No, I'm a fan of it. Yeah, why not? I don't think it works.
Okay, you think it's predetermined anyway?
No, I don't think it's predetermined. I just think that it doesn't work. I think it's a worse formation than he had before, and
wow. They pulled one back, and now he's been sent off.
Yeah, I'm going to end up with my foot in my mouth here, but things are conspiring against me. I think that if it with the formation he had, I think 60% of the time he would end up with a better result than he would do if he went 3 up top. Anyway, come on, Tato. None at the back. Come on.
Rox is calling for it. None at the back.
He said play on, fellas. He said play on. Oh, he's put a backwards L on Kaladze. That's all he wants to do.
Swan, as it's a red card, you are... Martin said as well, look, 0 at the rear. I played Champman when I was 13, didn't play it for 20 years and found you lot. No idea what I'm doing, says Swan. As is, Rox is so erect right now. He's loving it. We're only going to pause the game again in a second anyway for the 60-minute mark. There you go. But yes, none at the back for Badgers. It's brave. I think it's the first time someone's gone none at the back, Duggan.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it absolutely is. But,
wait, no. Did someone not play a DM line of 5 with no defenders?
Yeah, he's not going to change anything.
So both, we don't even need to look at it. Both Tato and Swan say play to 90. They're happy with how this is going to turn out. Rox did it in the cup. There you go. He's put a comment in. Scally's been sent off as well. Get up.
None at the back.
None at the back.
Yepes to DMC. I don't know who Harold Lozano is. Is he a new one for this season?
Yes, he came in this year.
Never heard of him.
Do you like the look of him?
Not really, no.
Swan wants to go 0 at the back. Tato, I'm guessing you're not going to, but you're allowed to change it. And Martin's saying never Scally.
Tato said play to the end. Let's crack on.
Wow, here we go. 3-2, 20 minutes to play. No one. I now have no blood left in my legs, says Ross. No defense. There's the equaliser, Montella.
Oh, God.
And are they going to get a winner? Does this game deserve a winner? No.
I think let's just say well played to both managers. They took it in the right spirit. Great game.
I mean, it had a lot more opportunities, right, than the first game we just watched.
Yeah. That's what we should have had in the first game. But we're 2 useless, miserable guys rather than Tato and Swan who've gone for it. Pleasure of a game.
Yes, Montella was a 5 at halftime, Martin. They're all talking about the entertainment now in the chat. Let's see if Montella's rating went up. It certainly did, from a 5 to a 9 with his 2 goals.
So we should let Wooder know that I've still got my spanner. I can still mute people.
Montella double right gets so many shouts wrong tonight. As for badges, Zenden of all players getting man of the match.
Yeah.
That's why you love the Super League.
Yeah, it's all fun games. Isn't it?
I think I said a few weeks back, Bolo Zenden as a Super League ML is so Tato. It's like absurd. It's like such a Tato thing to do.
Jens saying quality stuff. Tato saying decent AMC, Zenden. That's Spanner, says Wooden. But a very entertaining game number 2 for the evening plays out a 3-3 draw. Congratulations to both sides. Game number 3 then. We wanted to do your game, Duggan. So let's go to Dragons. And you're always one to worry in game about yellow cards, but you obviously looked in the messages earlier and decided to not risk anyone being suspended for the playoffs. Yeah,
I think. I mean, I kind of apologise to Edwards if he has a little bit of an issue with this, because technically, if he drops points against PPP and Cosmos smash us, then he might lose first. But I thought long and hard about this, because obviously it's in Edwards' hands, and really the only people that we're shortchanging is us. If we don't finish, third, we could finish 4th, 5th, or 6th. But I'm not really a massive believer that it makes a massive difference where you finish in the table in the playoffs. You still play just as many games to get to the final, and that Nesta, Boya, Keane are the bedrock of the team, really. And I've been stupid to kind of risk them. Rox made a comment on comms the other night saying, "Oh yeah, get them off, protect the yellow." But actually, I was kind of hoping that they got the yellows, so they'd be suspended for this and then cleared for the playoffs. So yeah, it is essentially the cup 11. It's an 11 we like. It's young. There should be goals in it, but East Coast will have absolutely too much for us. Edwards, I appreciate that, man. That is very, very, very kind of you.
So let's let the cat out of the bag a little bit. So you sent me this team, and after all the shenanigans of a couple of game weeks ago, you put in capital letters, "I, Craig Duggan, Dragons manager, declare this is not a mistake." And then some hour and a half later, put, "shit, ignore that. I've included a player that's in the reserves. He can't play."
Yeah, but we're making gradual improvements, because at least it was improved before kickoff, and it was. Go on.
But then you picked a player off the subs bench to come onto the pitch, and asked for a new sub who was already on the subs bench, so I had to go back to you again and say, "No, he's already on the bench. Pick another player."
Yeah. I'll hold my hand.
Before managers have sack the chairman, sack the manager would be an exchange.
Yeah, and even just so everybody's aware that a few weeks back after that whole crack, me and you kind of kissed and made up, and I kind of held my hands up. I still think it was a bullshit call at the time, but I still held my hands up and said my reaction was probably a little bit ridiculous. Because of the Thursday afternoon that I'd had. Can you just jump into the reserves and just have a look at Reyes and see if he's converted into an AMFLC? Because he's been on a little bit of a training program, hasn't he? Not yet.
He has, but he hasn't.
Right, okay. No worries, mate. Cheers.
Your assistant not happy with your approach to it either.
Listen, this is the man who for 11 game weeks nobody had heard a peep from. Everybody thought he was 6 feet under until game week 11 when we won the first game and he came out. So welcome back. It's amazing what a 10-game winning run does, doesn't it? I suddenly grew my other 2 dicks back.
Regardless of how involved and how good a call on one draft goalkeeper that was, I don't think you should be getting shots fired at you from someone who wibwobbed for 2 games and had to resign disgraced from his position.
Yeah, no, listen, I have to say what has been the 3 dicks back together. I mean, Hopkins is more or less done for call, but that's made the difference this season. Wood is scouted massively.
Did you want to select a captain?
Let's go.
You'll pick Radaby.
Yeah, let's go Radaby, actually. Yeah, go on.
Okay, lovely.
Interesting. I mean, you've got 3 DMCs there, 2 Darfaway and Kaluzhny, and you could have been forgiven for going 5 across the DM line there, but you just decided to push them 2 DMs into midfield. Not really the best positions, but there we are.
No, I think just the idea is that we weren't blessed with MCs or DMCs really at the start of the draft. So it was an area of weakness. We kind of went overboard to pull some in. Just the idea is just to keep that middle of the pitch really solid and let the wing backs and the AMs do their thing.
Right, so we look at Coast and they've got their queue already. They do still stand a chance of finishing top if they win, Burn lose, and the goal difference swing is enough. Oyo unavailable, but he doesn't really play that much anyway, so it doesn't harm them. Dimble's kind of gone with the same mentality. He's not risked Campbell being suspended, but he was happy to run the risk with Vogel. Where do you stand on this? Would you be playing your strongest team regardless, or would you, with one game to go, be looking at the suspensions?
I'd be waiting as long as possible to submit my team to see what Duggan was doing. And if Duggan had released that team, I'm not too sure if he had done, then I'd have been definitely dropping Vogel and Campbell. But yeah, that's where I'd stand. I think I'd have looked at the fact that Burn only need a point and would have probably rested a lot of my key players, thinking that it's massively unlikely and you want your best team. But yeah, they've had a great season. Cosmos Dimble's done a great job. I don't think he's got one of the best 2 squads in the league, but he's been up there all season and he's done really well. So all credit to him. And yeah, I think he'll win tonight based purely on Duggan using his reserves.
Let's go to the game then.
Can we, Fyfie, sorry, there's just a bit of a chat going on about retraining in the chat. I think we should definitely acknowledge it. I wasn't aware about the rule either way. I don't think it's ever been done, but has anyone been retrained? Is this what's happened? Or
so, I mean, in my time running it, I think 4 people have ever asked me, and I said, yeah, that's fine. I've got no problem with it. I believe it happened to 2 players that I'm aware of while I was still manager at Devils. So it's been going on for a good, probably 6, 7, if not 8 seasons.
I don't ever remember saying no to anyone on this.
No.
So I just it's people saying that they're surprised, they thought it was unallowed. And I don't think it's ever been asked, or if if anyone wants to do it. I mean, it's a bit pointless in this season, but if anyone wants to do it under the co-chair committee, whatever, steer co, I don't think it'll be an issue. So take that as that.
No, I would completely agree. I've never said no. I have no issue with it. I don't necessarily think it particularly works wonders for a player either when I've done it on home save, so I'm not too fussed. But yes, I won't ask Duggan as his team's involved, right? But a score prediction, please.
3-1 Coast.
3-1 to Coast. And that was almost the first straight from the blocks from the home side. They have started strong, looking to at least make a game of this race for the top. Ryan makes a good point now with Burn having a favourable looking fixture, although credit and respect where it's due, they are playing the first ever Cmsl Cup champions. And another red card. And the player that was brought in to avoid Campbell getting suspended has got himself suspended.
Yeah. It seems like a straight swap for Warnes, doesn't it? Or
no, one at the back. One at the back.
I'd do Paredes for Warnes here.
I would do Vogel to protect the yellow, personally.
Well, I mean, but he's run I suppose now that he's seen Duggan's team, he might think that. But why not?
Jens is now asking, can I retrain outfield players I've sold to goalie, please? No. To make it simple.
All in the best interest of the league, gents.
Quick. Oh, Tato's got a quiz question. While we wait for Dimble's around. Have I seen Dimble comment on anything so far?
Chalky crayons, Martin, not Chudley cannons. Sorry. Have
we seen Dimble at all? Oh,
we'll just go as it is regardless of what he does. Fyfie, just fine.
That is annoying. Vogel off for Warnes. Oh, okay.
So sorry, please forgive me for not knowing. Is Cordoba a nailed-on starter usually for Cosmos?
No, Cordoba doesn't start. He's coming for Campbell specifically. Petkov so he's going like this, which makes sense. Can Haggis request that Danny Invincible is fined 2 weeks' wages every 2 weeks until the auction takes place?
Come on, Fyfie, just click OK and then continue the game and then read a comment like that.
Yeah, we just like making it as is.
You're going as is, yeah?
Yeah.
Lovely. Anyone think you're in a rush, Ryan? You're the one that has to come on.
I'm not in a rush. I'm here as long as you'll have me, but Let's see. The action can be going on in the background while we're reading the chat.
So 0-0 at half time. Obviously, the red card just before will change the outlook for the second half. Hoffman's injured and Campbell's on a yellow, so it will be an issue, says Dimble. As for this game specifically, it all depends on how much he wants top spot now as to how big he goes for this, or does he start, pulling a Anelka off for Larson to rest him for the two-legged tie against Byrne. We now know he's got centre-back issues as well. The ratings are very un-Coast-like, and I think Duggan, that's credit to how you're approaching Dimble's side here.
Yeah, not to kind of sound like a broken record, but we genuinely do really like this squad, and we think it's the best squad from front to back that we've ever had as Dragons kind of syndicate. And again, like I said to Ryan, the whole idea tonight is to just be really solid in that kind of number 5 on the dice in the middle and try and let the creative players create chances. Okay.
Dimble's going as is. How about yourself?
Yeah, we'll go... let's go Smerton for Kolosny, please.
Smerton for Kolosny.
Definitely some bingo going in the chat. Fucking just at the right-hand column, come think about it.
Yeah, cheers.
No worries. Let's resume game number 3. That's a massive injury.
Oh, wow.
Oh, ouch.
Fuck.
This isn't tough for
This is getting worse.
I think I'd go Petkov left and then just bring MDS on. But this is not what he wanted, really. I think he'd rather, in hindsight, play in his reserves. And
this has gone horribly wrong. Absolutely. Again, though, the option is there. You could put Henri out there and put Larson behind Anelka, potentially.
He's been such a massive, massive player for Cosmos all season at both ends of the pitch as well. A couple of 10s the last few games. That is, or maybe not then. But yeah, massive.
MDS is coming on, as Ryan said.
He just wants to put Petkov out there, then swap
these two round. Right, let's kick this one off again.
Ian will be licking his lips now.
Oh, and now the skipper Radaby. You've got back and Ronaldinho.
If we can go back, please. Archie back for him, and then drop Tudor into centre half, and then switch back and scissor him. Thank you.
That's why you played your reserves, isn't it, Doug?
Yeah, I think so, mate. It's a long old season, isn't it?
So now, Larson, the only other option. Do we think Dimmel's going to make another change here?
I would maybe get Anelka off, given how the game's going for him.
Just every player getting obliterated.
Yeah, and given how the game's going for us, actually, seems to be a lot of cards and a lot of injuries, so I'd maybe protect Anelka.
We will just leave this on the screen for another 30 seconds or so, and then I'll show yours to allow you to make changes.
We'll just go as is, Fyfie.
Oh, okay.
How do you think the game's going? I think, Cosmos looks slightly on top, but not another team really look like scoring, do they? It's not really.
No, it's very even. Very, very even game, this. So while we just wait for confirmation, Duggan, at what point, it's well known, you went 10 games without a win at the start of the season, then won 10 games in a row, and then just kind of had that little, not a blip as such, but that little bit of inconsistency for sort of 4 or 5 games where you were kind of win, lose, draw, lose, win. Did you at any point think you weren't going to make it, or were you always confident after your 10-game run that you were going to do it?
Look, the thing is, we a bit like Lettuce for a few seasons ago, we were the horse on the outside lane. Do you know what I mean? We had nothing to lose. And that kind of freed the shackles a little bit with how we set about it tactically. But yeah, I think from game week 11 onwards, we've looked pretty solid.
Yeah. Can't argue with that. A tactical change. East Coast have pushed more men forward in an attempt to go for a win. But Dragons take the lead through Fyfie. I think that said it was his first ever goal for the club. Yellow card dished out into the final 10 minutes.
Solid looking player, Vasiliuk. Have you had much interest in him, Doug?
No, we only just got him from
Right.
Vikings for cash when Fyfie released the kind of deals the last time, and it was because we were really struggling to find someone who was kind of a similar profile to Constantinu and could do the work that needed to be done up there, which was kind of bring the AMs into play. He's had shit morale for a long time. So he wouldn't be anywhere near the team tonight if it wasn't a, kind of almost dead rubber.
One apiece, Thierry Henry levelling things up for the 10 men. Warnes goes into the book. Free kick to Dragons, which backlines up. 4 minutes to be added on. Nearly off the rebound.
Henry has the freedom of Bolton, as he's well aware.
Into injury time. Are we going to get late drama in this one? Henry and Elka. Safe by giving, can't hold on to Anelka. Oh, it's Stumson.
Wow.
How was he missed? Anelka, who has been banging goals all season. Deflects off the wall. And now Dragons. Oh, Kernfeiger. Anelka. And Anelka again. And there's the final whistle. And an entertaining game full of incident. Ends one apiece, but Duggan, you were hanging on just at the end there, weren't you? Yeah,
look, I think we a point pretty much nails us third because of the goal difference, unless there's anything massive happens, Haggis and Vikings. So we've lost no starters to the playoffs. We've protected those yellow cards. The tactic file itself has showed that it can roll against good sides, even with second string players. So look. Dimble's a top side and he'll be there or thereabouts after the kind of knockouts, I think.
So that guarantees Northern Burn top spot as well. We now know that Cordoba won't be available for the first game, but we know Campbell will be. The lack of defensive options is a concern though. But the crucial thing next, Ryan, is how long Balmer will be injured for.
Yeah, 36 there. So I mean, it could go either way. That it could be a couple of weeks, it could be 10 days. He might get lucky, because I think is it the first game might be the playoff, the third to sixth playing each other. So he might get lucky in his week off, and Bowman just be out for that long. Fingers crossed for him. I think everyone wants to see the best players playing. I think, tonight's been a solid game, and it'll just be fingers crossed for Dimble that he's got his best team ready.
That penultimate statement there is a matter of opinion, though, isn't it, Ryan? Because you say everyone wants to see the best players play, but you slag off half the players selected for all the sides.
Fair comment. Assassin Duggan here. Is there any chance of any of these players who've played well tonight breaking into the team?
Into the first 11?
Yeah.
No, that's pretty solid. I think we know probably the 5 we're going to hold going into the squad next season, and then the kind of 5 that'll be available there to either drop down to the reserves or go for cash or kind of just be away with it. We've got a couple in the reserves that I think we'd like to bring up next season. I think I'd like to see what Reyes does if he is retrained. Casas was good in the cup for us. I'd like to see how he does.
Very good for Haggis last year as well.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that a couple of people haven't kind of had a nibble on him for a reserve. But yeah, look, I think we're in a good place regardless of what happens in the playoffs. And the 2 signings that we have done are, the 2 issues we've got in this squad are a top CDM and a top centre half to replace Keogh, and I think we've addressed those both. So yeah,
nice. So game number 4 was to be Burn and Triple P. You've already kind of mentioned it, Duggan, but Rob was left very happy with his cup win this afternoon.
Yeah, fair play to him. Look, like Greaves, he brings a hell of a lot to the league. I came into the league when Rob Sloth was smashing people 4-1 and 6-2s and all that sort of stuff. But this squad is just absolutely fucking batshit crazy, and his transfer business is batshit crazy. And I say it all the time. I'm on comms really. Game week 1 and now, this squad is night and day. But yeah, I'm chuffed Rob did it.
Whereas I've not changed this for him. And Petit suspended. He wanted his second half team. So that was Crespo and Zidane came on for Mackay and Makoku. But is Rob in the chat?
I've not seen him for a while. But
because he never told me he was replacing Petit.
I think he's probably likely to be worse for wear, given he was out for his birthday the day, mate.
He was, wasn't he? And happy birthday again, Rob. I know how much you enjoyed.
Like I said, give him a chance to respond, but I think put Claudio Makelele in there as a kind of stopgap.
Claudio?
Who else would you? Yeah, you know what I mean. Right. I think the idea is now that we've got that 1-1 in the what do you call it, the East Coast game, then it necessarily isn't going to impact the playoff race at all, isn't it? Is it?
Oh, you're a hard taskmaster, right? Casas for Invincible's been offered.
What do you think the answer is going to be to that?
Well, when you see him smashing all the nations in the World Cup in the postseason, you'll change your tune, I'm sure. Anyway, let's continue on. Rye, Northern Burn. So a lot of when you wouldn't have been there at the very start of the season, but the save was made available to everyone when nothing had been done, and loads of people doing test saves with their squads to see what they could do. And Northern Burn, along with Stanley, became a lot of teams' favourites, despite Ian's protestations that he got a very poor draw and draft. So he'd done some very good transfer dealings and was suddenly smashing everyone on test saves. Are you surprised when you see this squad of players that they finished top of the league?
No. Ian, give me a lot of time for Ian. He is the master of transfers. He just pummels people to death in the inboxes. He'll offer crap after crap after crap, and then eventually he'll offer a little bit. He'll offer a bit of crap with a bow on it, and people will say yes. So he is, for pretty much as long as he's been in the Super League, especially since season 5, he has been the master of transfers. And last few seasons, ever since he obviously got his star, he's got his tactics better. He's kind of stuck to his formation, stuck to his tactics rather than meddling around. Yeah. There's no surprises at all from me. He's got his Cosmin Contra as well. He absolutely loves Cosmin Contra. He thinks that Jeremies is the best DM in the league. Do you mean? I think it's a quality team. I'm not surprised that it's people's favourites. It'd be probably up there with one of my favourites as well. Yeah. I can't say a bad word about Ian as long as he's not messaging me about transfers. But there we are. And I think, they're going to be tough to beat between now and the end of the season. Or now in the final. They finished top for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Duggan, obviously, last time out, this was red. It's now orange. How crucial? It sounds a stupid question, but Tamudo scored last time out. So how critical is it for Burn that he's back for the Coast two-legged affair, or would they be okay to go with Tamudo?
I think as long as Jeremies and Tamati don't get yellow cards tonight, he can ride it without Sigalgo. I think if that kind of, Jeremies has been absolutely amazing for him. I don't think he's got anywhere near the kind of plaudits for this season in terms of, tens man of the matches hasn't been a thing, but in terms of match day stats, they've been absolutely incredible, and he is the spine of the team. Funnily enough, on transfers, Edwards messaged me. He was like, I know we don't usually agree transfers because we kind of approach them in the same way. This is who I want. Who do you want? And I was like, Jeremies. He was like, no, thanks. I was like, fine, thank you. So I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right because Edwards is kind of knows now that he cannot grind us down. It's the yellow cards for him here. So I think Dimble will be looking on to this game. It wouldn't surprise us if he gets them off at half time.
He had the cheek today. So sorry to interrupt you. He had the cheek today. I put like a funny offer in there, kind of thing, half joking, half serious, and he had the kind of cheek to put a laughing meme back to me after the shit he sends me and the shit he sent other people over the past years. To him to kind of laugh off someone's transfers is it's something else. But you mean?
Well, while you're offering comment, Ryan, a score prediction, please.
I think they'll win this. Big fan of Raw, big fan of the cup winners, but Burn's going to have too much tonight. I think 3-1.
3-1, Duggan?
I think 3-0.
3-0. Lovely. Let's see. if Triple P are riding the crest of a wave. Oh, they're taking the lead, and it's Makalele of all players.
Inspired.
It's amazing the effect Ryan can have on a team just by talking about them. And there's the equaliser through Rui Costa's first goal for Northern Burn 20 minutes into this game. I haven't had a message from Ian this transfer window. Feels like I'm laying on a field of flowers listening to the birds sing, says Jens. And we get to half-time as Wooder says Claudio and Dan says bloody Claudio. Triple P score with their only attempt. Only attempt of the half. Northern Burn were I say dominant side. It doesn't. When I see low numbers like this, it doesn't feel that way. But statistically, they were the better side, Duggan.
Yeah, I think so. And you're probably going to see the most un-Edwards-like move in a second. I'd imagine that one of Montero and Fyfie will probably be pulled, and one, if not both, of Tamati and definitely Jeremies. I think Jeremies will be off for Novotny, probably or Lee Chun-Soo. You'd be desperate to get them off.
Right? You've known Ian many years now. Do you think he'll be desperate to get them off?
I think he would have been until he heard Duggan say that, and now he might go as is.
Yeah, I'm playing 4D chess, mate, and hoping that's the crack.
Yeah, he's very unlikely to do substitutions at half time. But
see, Fyfie's got transfers on the brain. This bloke has done a total 360 from when he was chair.
He loves it, doesn't he? Absolutely loves it. I can see Jens and Rox are trying to discuss it in the chat, but Jens has just said that Ian's told him not allowed to discuss it until the end of the season. Well done, Ian. I like that. Old school. Let me
tell you, can I briefly tell you something that happened today?
Go on.
I sent the same transfer offer to Ian and Rox, and what do you call it? Ian rejected it, and Rox accepted it.
Well, there you go. Rox has the authority.
I'm glad to hear that.
Ian has made changes. So Montero off for Jens Novotny. Zauri off. Wait, what? Zauri off. Obviously, yeah. Read it properly, Stephen. Zauri off for Jeremies. And Tamazi. Lee Chun-Soo on for Tamazi. Triple chat. This is the only time I think I've ever known him do 3 changes. Lee Chun-Soo swap with Kill. 3 changes at half time, Duggan. Put a note on the calendar.
Called it.
And swap Fyfie for Novotny. And now I can see that you're also trying to speak to Rox now. As for Triple P, I'm not seeing Rob pop up in the chat again. He was here at the very beginning, but not since, because I laughed that he changed his name to acknowledge me. I'm the first ever cup winner or something along those lines. I mean,
starting a vat of his own piss, drinking champagne and Carlsberg Special Brew. Do you mean?
He said he was off for afternoon tea.
I was texting him earlier today, actually, and he was like, "Can you fucking leave me alone? It's my birthday and I'm trying to get pissed."
Well, with no sign of him in the chat, we will resume the action. Northern Burn making 3 changes at half time. And they now take the lead, and it's through one of the substitutes, Lee Chun-Soo, puts them ahead. Yellow card handed out, and they look to be going for a third now. It's a red card. Oh, it's 2 red cards. Okay. Well, let's start. Hang on. Let's start with Burn, who had Rui Costa sent off, so he'll be missing now for the first game. Not a critical loss, Duggan, but still quite a sizable loss for how Burn have been playing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think good EMCs are in short supply, and Edwards really likes Rui, so that poses him a question.
Rox says, I just assume Dragons are interested in Oko every single day that I wake up.
Yeah, we are, mate, because what we've really tried to do over the last couple of seasons is just have 2 or 3 targets and go all out. I think where people go wrong in transfers and where we went wrong in the past is the scattergun approach and really not trying to be precise about it.
So with Rob not here, I just moved well in central and carried on. We were at the hour mark anyway. And Lee Chan-Soo makes it 3-1 to Byrne, who are ending the season in style.
I mean, there's nothing unexpected here, is there? Nothing unexpected.
Maybe just the not hitting double figures in terms of attempts, Ryan, is about the only thing unexpected. Normally, Byrne are a bit more adventurous than that.
Yeah, he took 3 first teamers out at half time. He's got the title wrapped up before this game. I think he'll be happy enough with that. The only thing he'll be frustrated with, but not absolutely devastated with, is Rui Costa. He'll be aware that Willie Baumer's potentially carrying a knock for East Coast, and yeah, he'll know he's got a couple of weeks to ensure everyone's fit.
And when you look,
go on,
sorry, carry on.
No, it's fine. I don't think that Fiore or Chun-Soo on yellows. I don't think that will cause any suspensions. So, yeah, I think Ian will be relatively happy.
On the subject of Chun-Soo, though, he's come off the bench at half-time. Duggan scored 2 goals, man of the match performance. Is he the ideal replacement for Rui Costa?
I'm not sure, because I can't, because of my lack of transfer dealings with him, I can't quite tell you kind of what else is in the squad, really. But I suppose congratulations to Edwards for finishing top. I've long maintained that the best team in the league finishes top after 26 games. So yeah, congratulations, teammate. I know it's something you've tried to do in the past and kind of fucked it up with the last minute, and Dragons benefited from that a couple of seasons ago. So yeah, congratulations, Edwards, mate. Well done.
As for Triple P, mate, I mean, I've been Rob's harshest critic. I think everyone else has said, yeah, but we love Rob. He's mad. He's a maverick. He does whatever he likes. I've been very critical of Triple P, and I've even said, despite, I think they're going to finish, 10th or 11th, that they've been the worst team in the league for me this year, even including Astor. Can they be better next year, do you feel?
I think they've got to be. I think they've got to be. They've really got no choice. Because it's really difficult when you've got a team down there, and I know because I've had 1 or 2. It's really difficult to, in home saves, find something that then translates, because the levels between the AI and the other managers are so very different. So if I'm Rob, I'm looking at the likes of Emerson, I'm looking at the likes of probably Sally Hamadic and Candela and really definitely Roy Mackay, and thinking, can I go and get 2 players for that one that really improve the squad? But Rob, has got a shit transfer record. So yeah. Who knows?
Right, do you think there's one big move left for Crespo?
Does he ask knowingly?
No, I don't think he does. But I think you've shit the bed there and told him.
Oh, I'm guessing Crespo's going to Fulchester Phoenix then?
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay. So yes, the answer to that question is yes, there is one big move left for Crespo. Mate, I literally said 20 minutes ago I paid no attention to any transfer chat whatsoever.
Yeah, Hernan's packing his bags. He scored a goal in the cup final to get them level. He's hugged the supreme leader, and now he's off to greener pastures.
Well, congratulations to Northern Bird on finishing top. Before I forget, because I do have to say, I dropped you a message just before we went, before you came on the show, Ryan. It's the first time I paid attention and noticed the new Fulchester Phoenix badge. I have to say, I do like that logo. It's very smart.
Oh, you don't say that. You'll give Mr. Edwards a heart attack. That was a 10-minute job on Canva.
I thought it looked quite smart. I quite liked it.
It's a bit of fun before. I mean, yeah, if Ian wants to do something for me, then I'll be massively appreciative. But yeah, it was just a bit of fun.
So now we get into the business end of why we're all here. The last 3 games, and we're starting with Fulchester Casuals. The upshot here is both teams need to win regardless. We know that. Maka has gone Vieri in for Batistuta as his only change, which means the Batistuta doesn't even get a place on the bench. What's your thoughts on that, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. He's obviously, Maka's fell out a little bit with Batistuta, as have a lot of people. I mean, if you play him up front in his own season 1 and 2, he can be absolutely fantastic. But do you mean Macca's more often than not played 2 or 3 up top? Don't smile at me, Duggan.
Trying to peddle his wares here, Fyfie. Someone, please take this absolute shit off us, please.
Well, in my opinion, he's better than Johnny Carew. He's he'd rather him up front than Luis Enrique. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, I mean, I like if you go in 3 up top. I think this is the best formation to do it. I think there's some real diamonds in there that Macca's got. I don't think. I think the squad was poor, but I think his first 11. He's got a few players which can do the business. I like Nakata in this save. He's got big numbers out of Riquelme. Do I think that he's going to score 4 goals to Walton Casuals? None. No. But I've got everything crossed. And let's be honest, Macca's basically up there. He's one of the GOATs of this league, an absolute legend. And if there's anyone that can do this, I think it's him.
Martin's put here, a history of design excellence, Ryan. Only manager to refuse the services of Ian Edwards, coming up with his own Bolton Phoenix crest. If you remember, for the longest time, I had my own Devil's crest as well. But when we changed it for the last iteration, I got told I had to have something a bit smarter and cleaner. So I take offence to that, Martin. Oh, Ryan, do you want to? I've not seen Macca about all night. Do you want to pick a captain?
No, just okay. Whoever turns up.
Okay, Christian Vieri. As for casuals, they stick with their normal formation, but Veron and Smith are back and both going to centre midfield. Ronaldo playing just behind Cliver. Ronaldo's another one of those players. Duggan, do you think there's a move left for him anywhere, or is he done? Is he in the Zidane bracket now?
Yeah, for me, he's in the Zidane bracket. Macca and Ryan might disagree because he did have a good little run for Fulchester last iteration. But let's get this right. This casual side has an embarrassment of riches, and their manager seems to flip flop between wanting to put the effort in to get the start and then not being lost. And to be honest, I think if he had to put 50% more effort into it this season, he would have been top 3, probably closer to getting the start, and could have rode off into the sunset. And I've gave Hodgie a lot of shit over the last couple of weeks. Some of it lighthearted, but with an actual kind of undercurrent of truth, which is that, listen, mate, if you can't be fucked and you don't want to try and win it, then what you're doing here? Do you know what I mean? But listen, Hodgie is better than me at this game. He's got a better track record than me at this game, and this squad is up there with the best in the league. So for me, I hope Fulchester gets something, because I'm looking at Haggis, Gazelles and Vikings and casuals and thinking of those 4 as potential playoff contenders. That casuals are the team that I want to play the least out of the other candidates.
Score prediction, please.
I'm going to go 0-5 Fulchester.
Nice.
I'm on the C-suite.
Doug?
I think it could be 3-2 casuals, I think.
3-2 to casuals. Also important, I didn't mention it there, that Zé Roberto back as well, just in time for the playoffs.
Ryan, keep the faith line, because I don't know if you've seen a little post that Wood retweeted the other day, but after game week 6, Swanee gave us, statistically based on 12 seasons worth of data, a 0% chance of making the playoffs. Literally it had a 0 in the league. I don't know if you've seen that. If you haven't seen that, Wood knocked up a little. Oh, there's 1-0. A little Mission Impossible kind of graphic. So keep the faith, mate.
Well, if it was mission unlikely, it does look impossible now.
Fulchester are being fucked by the referee. Now this is a joke. It's as per usual. Obviously, definitely a pro. The referee giving everything to casual. Fulchester have been on top start to finish, and this is bullshit.
There was a penalty claim in there, but it's Tommy Smith of all people coming in with his 3rd goal of the season.
Who the fuck is?
Just another one that Ryan won't be happy.
Who is he?
What do you mean?
You mean does he exist? Is he? You mean?
Yes, he's a real person.
And just kind of to bring it back to the matter in hand. this would automatically, kind of as it stands, put Casuals up live to 4th on 41, a point above Vikings, a point above Gazelles, and 2 points above Haggis. So as it stands, Haggis are dropping out.
There you go. Thank you. So I have to say, the graphic that Swan did with all the permutations made it a lot easier for everybody, didn't it? Macca has already said Enrique to AMC with a forward arrow, so we know there's going to be a tactical change. Have we seen... I mean, I don't think I've seen Hodgie in the chat, so we won't spend too long. Tommy Smith there rating a 9 at half-time. As Rock says there, Ryan, the Watford legend. He's doing the damage.
You can delete him for me. No, you mean he usually ends up at Celtic on a home serve, doesn't he? He's Brian Tinney, Eugene. No, I haven't heard of those two people. You mean? What do you mean, man? I mean, I'm a Bolton Wanderers fan. Full chest.
You stopped liking football after JJ Kocher, didn't you, mate?
No, I'm still following. No, you mean they had fucking good 3-0 victory over the Pompey yesterday. Anyway, right, back to...
I've not spoken about yesterday's football for fear of upsetting Dimble.
Right, yeah. So Tommy Smith, pile of shit. Myth, absolute cunt. The referee's fucking Fulchester. Mac has done the right thing there, in my opinion, bringing Enrique on. Hey, there's a chance here. 5 goals in the second half.
Why not? Why not? Is this not the battle for the GOAT title as well in terms of most points or most wins? Or
wait, I think yeah. Well, Hodgie's been in the league 10 times longer than Macca, but I think this is the... Do you mean Macca's going for the same amount of wins? I believe. I don't think it's a question really for longevity. He's been fantastic all the way through.
Oh, I'm a massive Macca fan. Yep, Sam getting sent off.
First full season, he got to the final. You mean that was probably the kind of peak season in terms of manager quality. Yeah, Yapstam obviously getting pissed off by this bullshit referee.
So I'm going to make an assumption here that you've probably already sold off Yapstam somewhere.
No, Yapstam's staying.
Oh, which means he's now suspended for the first game of the season.
Absolute bullshit. Is this referee? It's bullshit.
Macca's going 1 at the back.
Good on you, Macca. Why not?
Ian saying that's us fucked now as well. With no Hodgie, we don't need to alter anything tactically for him.
Who's it?
Unfortunately, that's the level through Carew.
Yes.
Carew has leveled things up. The comeback is on for the 10 men. Now, how adventurous does Macca go here in search of all the goals he needs?
I don't know. Man, he's looking... I mean, his conditions down there. Put the ratings on there, 5. I think I'd stick with the formation. Whether he wants to give Louis a chance because Enrique is on a 6 and on low 80s. Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, Macca's in charge for the full length of this season, so I back him to get some silverware in the end of season shield.
The Cmsl shield, yeah.
I back him to get 5 goals in 30 minutes.
Saha for Enrique is the change.
Fyfie, just as you do that, that would put Casuals out of the picture and essentially wrap up the top 6.
We need a winner.
Need a winner. Is that the only change, Macca? Enrique throws his shirt in the direction of Macca. He's furious, says Tato. I mean, I've said it so many times, but if nothing else, Macca will go down for me as one of the greatest. Mythbuster's the wrong word, but he's the one who takes all these big name players who everyone says for whatever reason can't do it in the Super League, and Macca will always get numbers out of them. And that's what his legacy will be. Are you going to be able to match up to that, Ryan, or are you shipping off all the big names?
I mean, me and Mac have got very much a similar philosophy in terms of people who are good in real life should be good on the game. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of these bullshit players aren't for me. Don't mind the odd one, but fucking Tom Madeira, do me a favour.
76 on the clock, still 1-1 here. Both sides need a winner. Brotta missing. Oh, fucking hell, it gets worse. Ambrosini sent off now.
Oh,
Who's
Rob, Ma-
Have you
Rob
got rid
Marshall.
of...
Rob Marshall. Sorry, mate.
He takes this... What? Ian just saying fuck. Yeah, he's not happy. He's
Fyfie, you need this on medium. You need this on medium.
Slow this right down now.
Yeah.
Davis for Vieri and put him to DMC, please.
Maka, ever professional. Like it.
And then Saha up top. Do you want a little diag on Riquelme or anything?
I think that's a nice idea, Fyfie.
Well, I'm a fan of a diag, so...
I don't think he wants it. He's put the old thank
No,
you.
he's just put thank you. Absolutely not medium, you bastard, says he.
Get it on medium.
Put it on slow. Oh, yes, diag. If you can just click on it, he's just put yes to that diag. Sorry,
for
mate.
fuck's sake.
Oh. Oh, it's on medium.
Saha. People will have messages from Ryan asking about DMs and CVs tomorrow.
Fucking hell.
The Carter comes forward. Oh, he couldn't keep it down.
I tell you what, 9 men are not. It's Fulchester creating the chances.
It is. They're going for it, Fulchester. Alex. The Carter. Buffon parries it. Oh, corner kick.
This would be an embarrassment for Hodgie if he doesn't go through here. Oh my god.
They haven't.
Done. Top 6 is done.
Top 6 is done. There is no more drama tonight.
I mean, it's a frustration that the last 2 games and aren't going to have the drama, but yeah, I think Fulchester unlucky there. They've dominated the game. They could have done with a few more goals. It's yeah.
And
I'm happy for Haggis and Vikings, obviously, and Gazelles, but frustrating performance from Casuals and very frustrating from Fulchester, who I felt like even with 9 men, they're the better team, and with a decent referee, they could have won.
Maka says, am I doing favours for Ian and Jens here? Got my minimum 37 points each season too. The GOAT. Yeah, I don't think Maka wants to be reminded he's doing Gazelles any favours. But another call for Maka as the GOAT.
Just to add a little bit of interest, Fyfie, because it's top 6 wrapped up. From my
Unless Haggis lose by 10.
It's my understanding that it's 3rd v 6th and 4th v 5th.
Yep.
So as it stands, you're looking at Dragons, Haggis, and Vikings, Gazelles.
What a playoff. Still seedlings to play for in the top 6. Can I change my team? Asks Ian. No. So next up, we were going to do Gazelles, Asta. So we'll just keep it in the order I had it. So they've just lost out in the cup. They know they're not going to lose out on the top 6 now. Stan said earlier, Duggan, that he would take that if it came to it. He went full strength for it just to be sure, which he obviously didn't know how the results were going to pan out. So that was a wise move. But it does mean that he now runs the risks of Juliana Nedved and or Rivaldo being unavailable should they get booked.
Yeah, and this is the difficult thing, isn't it? Because this is why you want to be involved at the kind of the business end of the season, because you want to be having these decisions to make, because it makes the game exciting. But look, just kind of on Gazelles, this is a formation that doesn't get a run out in the league. If we're giving credit to Savage and if we're giving credit to Rob and giving credit to Greavesy for kind of their individual contributions to the league, then Dan also needs that as well. They play it in a very particular way with players that nobody else really fancies. So yeah, and also we've got a pretty good record against Gazelles, so wouldn't mind them coming up against us in the playoffs, I think.
They have got, though, Ryan, some... Duggan says they're a tactic that's not exactly popular in the league, but in amongst all the chaos, they have got some, they've got arguably the best goalkeeper. Pizarro's a more than accomplished striker. Nedved, Mendieta, very talented players as well. There is a sprinkling of quality in this team.
Yeah, there is, and big names again. I think Ryan would be looking at this and thinking there's 2, 3, 4, 5 that he would happily sell his soul to the devil to have in the team. I didn't get a chance to see it on the last game as well, but listen, Mac, cheers for the memories and all the best for the future. You've been a massive part of this, and I'm sure you'll continue to be so in the future.
Cheers for the memories. I love it. It's like in memoriam to Macca.
Absolutely. Swan's video was class, by the way.
It was
fantastic, Swanee.
Steve saying that the shield is his, by the way.
Fuck off.
As for Asta,
I'm muting him. I'm mute him.
Yeah, kick him out. Give him a cool down.
Yeah, he's fucking. He needs to shut up, doesn't he?
As for Asta, he goes with a more traditional Super League tactic than the 4-4-2 he played last time, but still refusing to put an arrow on.
That's his shtick. That's Savage's stick. Absolute pleasure to deal with Savage. I mean, we've done some good business together. I like what he's doing tonight. Not too sure about Voigt at all, but I know that's not his signing. Yeah. I mean, it's more standard. It's not your 4-4-2. I'm surprised he didn't stick with the 4-4-2, to be honest. But yeah, some good players in there. Big Bad Barry in midfield. The Karate Master Edmundo at attacking mid.
And he's got to game week 20. He's got to game week 26, and Yakubu's finally getting a shirt number.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think he's that bad, Yakubu, is he?
No, I don't think so at all.
Yeah, I don't think he's bad at all.
So we know after the last game the jeopardy isn't there, but let's go through the motions anyway. A score prediction, please, Ryan.
I mean, Duggan said it doesn't get used very often, and it isn't. I agree, it's not a very popular Super League formation, but I quite like the Gazelles formation. Like his team, I think he's just going to have tonight that little bit too much for Asta. I'd probably go 2-0 Gazelles.
And done.
Or draw.
Lovely. And Rivaldo not wasting any time for Gazelles, scoring after just 6 minutes. And there's 2, Pizarro. Gazelles trying to play their way into playoff form. Looking for
good
third.
As well. It's all white, isn't it?
The penalty's been awarded. Mendieta has missed it. And left Brulis with a save.
He's I think underrated keeper there, Elepharopoulos or Elepharopoulos, you want to call him, but I think he's pretty solid.
I will say you're probably correct. Kivu makes it 3 before half time. And, Doug, you were saying that Gazelles, you wouldn't mind if that's who you got drawn against. Maybe this is making you rethink that a little bit?
Listen, they're a good side. They wouldn't be top 6, and they're now into 4th as it stands if they weren't a good side. But we've beat them 5-0 on aggregate this season. So, we're in the mix now. We back ourselves, and we'd fancy it against anyone.
After the result this afternoon, this will be a relief, I think, for Dan to go into the playoffs with a win and a good-looking performance. But even though the score looks good, right, and the ratings, I suppose, look good, the actual numbers some of these players are getting aren't stellar, are they?
It's like he's playing a bit of direct long ball or a bit of mixed or something like that. Because especially at home, not too many passes there. A lot of it going through Phil Neville as well. I think he's also a low-key underrated on this game. Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of key passes considering the amount of passes in total. 3 there from Stilian Petrov even. Absolutely great for Gazelles. It wrapped up at half-time, as you said.
He is just Asta deliberately lying down. As for Asta, I mean, it's been a tough baptism this for Mike, isn't it, Doug? And he's not, been able to make the squad his own yet, but I'm sure he's already working hard in the market. And Asta are going to be a different animal next year.
Yeah.
How about NDI, Duggan? I'll say that one. How about that?
Hey?
How about NDI there?
Do you think his head might be out the door?
He's got a 4. Jeez.
It's all right, mate. It's all right. Don't have to fucking worry about it. He's not got a red and green shirt on yet, has he? So yeah. Listen, I think this side will look massively. Fyfie with just a little eye rub there because he's thinking to himself, "Fuck, if Dragons signed and die, what a beast that would be." Listen, I think he's definitely.
Fyfie has no idea who's going to be playing for who next year.
He's listen. I think the business that I know Mike's done, like. To put it bluntly, he stapled his balls to the wall. So he's he'll fall on his sword next season, win, lose or draw. But yeah, fair play, Gazelles.
Juliano for Vargas. So he's winning and going one at the back.
Yeah, so this will be for the goal difference swing. So as it stands, Fyfie, Gazelles would be on 43 points with now a +7 goal difference. That would match Vikings' goal difference. So he probably wants one or two more, so that Vikings have got to win by a couple. So that's what I think he's kind of probably looking at here.
Mike has gone. Yakubu gets a squad number and gets some game time as he comes on for Gianna Cheddar in the only change.
I quite like Yakubu. I know I said pre-game, but he's not.
Was he not in and amongst one of the Phoenix squads at one point?
I don't think he ever played for us. I think he
Just
might have
reserve.
been. Oh, I think he may have been one of those we shipped out for something brighter, or something we assumed to be brighter. I think he was in my squad at some point. I don't think I ever played him.
So we get to the hour mark. No change to the score line. Did Gazelles do anything else here? Do they bring off another player maybe on a yellow card? They've got Arca there as an option.
I'd be taking Phil Neville off for Julio Arca on the 81% fitness. That'd be my choice. Another
I'd be getting Mendieta off, switching Phil Neville over and getting Julio Arca on. Mendieta's too important for them to play 29 minutes in what is an exhibition.
That's exactly the change I was looking at. Interesting to see if Dan agrees. You could also, just the way the game's panned out, as you saw earlier, with just crazy cards and injuries, you might just say bring Dida on for Barthez just to make sure he isn't missing for the playoffs.
Well, listen, that's an option because the game engine is doing weird things tonight in terms of injuries and cards. So yeah.
Steve Wright is back in the chat, and it is he's gone with Ryan's suggestion, straight Arca for Neville. As for Mike, and Dye's rating hasn't improved, still on a 4. Not one player above a 6 is fucking terrible.
Yakubu's dead apparently, according to Dan. I tell you what, Dan's probably got that list of dead players thing. He probably sleeps sitting next to his head. He knows the second a dead player is mentioned, he's fucking on it.
And do you know what, Ryan? Do you know what? That is probably the least weird of his lists that he has. Do you know what I mean? Like, of all the lists Dan has, the dead players list is probably not even in the top 10 of weird shit that Dan knows about this game. Honestly, he's fucking class. I love horse.
Edmundo for Perez is the change for Mr. Savage.
Remember, Martin used to say that Landon Donovan was the second best player in the Super League. Remember that one? I remember that one quite well.
Yeah. He's not really had an opportunity for Astor this year, but he never exactly set the non-competitive world alight, did he?
No, Martin might have had a word with Dan and got him transferred to Gazelles close season. Who knows?
And Dye is off for Donovan, and Donovan is going up top to make it 3 strikers, no DMCs.
He's going to score, yeah. Nailed on the score, I'm telling you now.
Half an hour to play. No need to slow this one down. The gap is big enough. Steve Wright's hoping that Maka lets you take the reins for the Shield. Nedved makes it 4. And Pizarro makes it 5. You said they get a couple in the second half, Doug.
This is a destruction.
And there's the full-time whistle. And just like at the county ground yesterday, the home side run out 5-0 winners. There's playing your way into form, and then there's playing your way into form, isn't there, Ryan?
Yeah. Do you mean, is he flying too close to the sun? I always have these things on home saves. I know if I win one game 8-0 or 5-0, you mean by a big score, I know I'm getting beat by 18th in the table the week after. I mean, I hope that's not the case. He's in absolutely cracking form. I think it was 3-0 last week, 5-0 this week. He's playing great at the minute. Unlucky today in the cup. I think he'll fancy his chances.
The comments flying in on this one.
Steve Wright as subtle as a hammer to the face there.
I'm guessing Pizarro is going to be playing for Rose next year.
Well, there we are. There's nothing left the imagination there, is there, Fyfie? Fuck me.
Disgrace this. Obvious disrepute. Should have all transfers null and voided, says he.
So as it stands, Fyfie, just while you're wrapping this up, mate, that would put Dragons in third on 43, but with a superior goal difference. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So essentially, if Vikings
so is this?
win,
I've always wondered. So this is giving Haggis a point at the minute, isn't it?
yeah, because technically it's a 0-0 draw.
It's 0-0, yeah.
Yeah. So if Haggis and Vikings draw, this is what the table ends up like. If Haggis were to win, they'd go on 42. Vikings would play Dragons. Gazelles would play Haggis. If Vikings win by 2 or more, then actually it makes no difference. It would probably be the home and away tie that they'd get. They'd get the home tie first and the away tie second. I think Horse can correct us on that.
They still need a monumental goal swing in this last game for any change in the playoffs. So let's go to the final game then. Vikings at home to Haggis.
Just to jump in, I think we skipped the Astor post game stats there, so might have to click back on them after we finish tonight.
No worries. Thank you very much. Lucenov unavailable against his parent club. Smith suspended, but really those weren't massive losses. But it is a change of tactic for Vikings tonight. They've altered it up, I'm guessing because that's Smith's suspension, which says a lot for the likes of Zizi Roberts, clearly not trusted to start. But Totti and Etsabaria playing behind Mpenza, Duggan.
Yeah, I'm a one-up top man every day of the week. I think this immediately looks more balanced than when you've got Alan Smith in there and just the one AMC and Totti. Even though Totti's been great for them as an MC, I just think at like first glance, this looks a lot more well balanced for me. Etsabaria has been pretty solid for them. Shout out Justin Walker. I think he's been absolutely phenomenal in that MC, doing unspectacular things but solid things. And for me, I'm looking at those yellows and thinking, they're probably going to be the people that come off at half time. Duff, Cannavaro, and Mpenza. They're going to be off for Roberts, Volodenkov, and who's the centre half he's got on the bench? He hasn't got one, so you'll have to do something there. Maybe Van Bommel and drop one of them back. Get them off at half time.
He's got Addo there, isn't he? So
yeah, and Desai, I suppose. Yeah.
As for Haggis, right, they are the defending champions, and short of losing 8-0 tonight, they will be in the hunt again. As long as you've been away from it, still no one outside the top 2 has managed to get a star. So when you look at these sides, as in Dragons, Vikings, Gazelles, Haggis, is this the year you think that one of those possibly could?
Well, I'll say first, a lot of time for Ian and Rox. I think that both Jens, Dan and Ian / Rox have done absolute wonders with the draw they got at the start of the season. I think they've done good in the transfer market. They found some good out of league players. Michelini, absolutely fantastic this season. Not player that I wasn't familiar with, and has been absolutely fantastic. It will happen. That third to sixth monkey of getting there, it will happen. If you're asking me who I think's got the best chance, I'd say the Dragons. I think they've got the strongest squad. It's amazing to me that they didn't win any of the first 10. So can we carry on, Duggan? I need to get my dog because she wakes everyone up.
I think one thing I'd say about Haggis, again, just to echo exactly what Ryan said about Vikings and Haggis and Gazelles. But I think this Haggis side, we were very lucky when we played Haggis a few weeks back. I think it was game 5 or 6 in our 10-game winning run. And Giggs was suspended or he's injured. He didn't play. This Haggis side with Giggs in it are capable of doing it. This Haggis side without Giggs, I think, struggle. He is that important to them. And certainly this season has definitely highlighted him. He's always been a top player. He was massive for Fulchester. But what he's doing for Haggis this season has really kind of, I think, made me give more respect in terms of what he is on the game. Can you just have a little look, Fyfie, in terms of what Haggis are riding in terms of yellows?
So Simeone, Michelini, and Live. Okaronko,
So
I guess, is better out the way today.
Yeah. That Michelini yellow card would be massive if he got one. So I'm putting the family jewels on him coming off at half time.
Okay. So for the final time tonight, and for the final league game of my tenure as chairman, can we have score predictions from you both, please?
I really like the look of Vikings tonight. I don't dislike the look of Haggis, but I think I really like the look of Vikings. I think they'll get there at home tonight 2-0.
Okay, Doug?
Yeah, I second that. That middle column from Vikings with Mpenza as the kind of spearhead. I think 2 or 3-1.
Okay, let's find out. Haggis is coming forward through Giggs, who Doug was talking about, but they failed to convert. They're getting in some good positions early doors, Haggis, but Vikings just starting to play their way back into the... Oh, and then that's it. That's half-time. That was pretty shit.
Yeah, two teams who are desperate not to lose, both playing... Do you mean... They're not. Yeah, a lot of passes from Vikings, isn't there?
A lot of passes.
Yeah, but not many for Mpenza. One shot off target. Yeah. I there's not much to say, is there?
There isn't.
No.
That's very fair. Let's move over to Haggis, and sort of certain players quite heavily involved, and the rest just kind of being passengers. I mean, Duggan, you mentioned Ryan Giggs. He has had 2 shots, which he hasn't got on target. But other than that, not much going on.
Yeah, Vikings are kind of winning the battle. Just looking at the match stats, winning that battle of kind of tackles, passes, and just controlling that game a little bit. I think the great thing about this is both managers can absolutely relax. There'd be no good if Casuals had got the win. I think they'll protect the yellows and they'll just kind of shake hands at half time almost.
Okay. Live for Michelini is coming on. Protects the booking.
Yeah, he's massive. Interestingly, Live was the other one on the booking. So,
well, Simeone was on the booking. Oh, certainly.
Yeah, Live was on the booking as well. On the subs bench.
Simeone and Live.
Oh, right, yeah. So it's all the DMs, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Ian is protecting the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Just wait for clarification that there isn't a third one being done as well. Any word from Jens? I mean, I feel sorry for Jens. He's ended up being last because of the situation and ultimately didn't need to be.
Yeah, I've not seen Jens in a while. It was definitely on earlier, but yeah.
I'll give him 20 more seconds and then we'll just carry on, just in case. Dan saying deals can be shared after this game unless with Bostock, Triple P, or Walton Casuals. In particular, not those sides?
Because I think Bibbins had asked for people to give their okay, that they can have their deals shared. And those, obviously, 3 clubs haven't given the okay. I don't think anyone's done any deals with Casuals anyway. And I've not had any kind of messaging with Scott or Swanee regarding transfers. So, and Rob won't care. So,
Canavar and Duff for MVB and Volo.
Mm-hmm.
Addo left centre back, and we're going like that. Lovely, thank you. Let's resume the action then. See if we can get at least a goal in this game. To be fair, only one deal is affected by that statement, says that. Yellow card for Desai.
I think I might have already announced it, so.
Oh, of course, Crespo. That'll be the one. Both managers just shaking hands, agreeing that this could peter out into nothing. Now, Mpenza's been rank average for Vikings since signing. Ryan, would you be maybe giving Zizi Roberts half an hour just to see if he can offer something different ahead of the playoffs?
I'd be giving him half an hour to protect Mpenza.
Let's just remember, he has scored 4 in 11.
I think if Mpenza's fit, you're playing him. That's just me. I mean, he's class on this game. He might not.
He's been rubbish for 3 seasons now.
I am not denying it. I am not denying what you're saying, right? But he's also been the top goal scorer in this league. He's also been absolutely frightening to play against. So, you keep playing the guy and you hope that he finds his form when it matters most.
What I would probably say on that is I think if I'm Vikings and I'm looking at that 11, I think my area of concern kind of going into this window is probably the width. Mike Duff is an absolute hero, but as he was great for Haggis, but that was 4 seasons deep last season, and then they've kind of messed with Gore and Volodenkov on the left. Not to blow smoke up your arse, Fyfie, but what your Devil's side showed was that you had to have 2 quality wing backs pumping in the supply to him. So I think if I'm Vikings, I'm looking at this window and thinking, do I cash in for the likes of a Totti for someone who's genuine quality at wing back to really try and get the best out of Mpenza?
Okay. Changes made by both sides just to rest a couple more. Jens says exactly, Ryan. With no jeopardy, there's not even really any need to slow this one down either. Another yellow card handed out. Was
that Simeone who was riding a yellow?
I think it might well have been.
I'm glad these guys are in the playoffs then.
And there's Shearer. Shearer in with the last kick of the season.
Just imagine if Casual had won earlier.
That is massive. So that puts Vikings 6. So it's Dragons, Vikings, and Gazelles, Haggis, which we know there's until Campbell brought about Martin's resurrection back to chairmanship. There was a lot of bad news, but probably just cuddle and kiss each other with that game now. But yeah, that is a massive goal for Haggis. That
Desai wasn't one of those from memory. No, on a yellow card. Threat, so no issue there. He picks up a man of the match award, despite being on the losing side. Rox has put Haggis in, Tristan, Morientes, Mendes, and Helguera out. Coco, Rosicky, Simeone, and then out of the league, he's named 3 players. There you go. For anyone who wasn't sure of the Haggis deals. On the other side, the rating certainly improved. Seaman come on and got a 9-star performance for his second half. Interesting deals is the chat now. But yeah, as you say, that the jeopardy wasn't on the game. It's what it does to the league table. So let's see how it all concludes. We had Badgers 3, Stanley 3, Coast 1, Dragons 1, Gazelles 5, Aston 0, Burn 3, Triple P 1, Vikings 0, Haggis 1, Casuals 1, Fulchester 1, and Rose 0, Celtics 1. And, well, there you go. So the elimination final pans out. The Dragons host Vikings. And
is that a one-legger?
Oh, I've got to remember how this works now. So
I'm pretty sure it's 2-legger.
These are 2 legs, I think.
Yeah. That's a
single. Yeah, these are 2 legs. The winners over 2 legs of both games play each other over 1 leg to play the losers of this game over. This is over 2 legs. The loser plays the winner of the other one over 1 leg.
Fuck.
Just click on schedule, mate.
Yeah, schedule. Go on. Yeah.
There you go.
So from memory, that elimination first leg generally needs to be a kind of 20-minute show, and then you can pack a couple of extra games in, a couple of friendlies maybe for that bigger show which will be on the 12th and 13th, which has in essence the second leg of the elimination and the first leg of the major semi, and then you can kind of get 2 shows all the way then to the end, 2 games at least all the way to the end. How's the Shield going to work, Fyfe?
So the Shield will work that the fixtures are arranged the day before the respective playoffs, and it's straight knockout games. So if I go back to the table, congratulations, by the way, to all 6 sides.
Yeah,
Burn, Coast, Haggis, Gazelles, Haggis, and Vikings on getting the cues. So the way the Shield will work, straight knockout games. It will be Astor versus Casuals, Rose versus Fulchester, Triple P Celtics, and Stanley Badgers. And then the winners will, it'll get drawn again for the semi-final, and then the final will be played like the day before, but the same night as the Super League Grand Final.
Very good, very good.
That's kind of how that's going to work. But no, congratulations to all involved. It's been we didn't quite get the jeopardy we were hoping for, but it certainly was a fascinating evening. Let's have a quick look through the player stats.
Can we just say as well, Fyfie, just before we say that, Dragons had 4 points after 10 games. 4 points after 10 games. So in 16 games, we've got 39 points, 40 points, 39 points?
So, that's the exact point, without wishing to diminish on what is a fantastic achievement on your part. But when Wooder was saying on Thursday night that surely you're manager of the season contender because of the winning run, I said, no, you can't be because of the winless run as well.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough, mate. That's your opinion, and I'm not putting myself in any bracket for any managers of the season crack yet before the fat lady sung. I think it's Gattuso touching the Champions League final trophy in Istanbul, that territory. So, but listen, it's fucking great season, brilliant. Dragons always bring the drama. Fact.
Always bring the drama, fact.
And the content. If anyone wants to make any mail orders from the Dragon shop, you'll have seen some deals going up over this weekend. If anybody wants to buy any of that merchandise, then just give us a shout.
Has this wet the whistle for you, so to speak, Ryan? Are you just waiting for these playoffs to get out of the way now so you can fully get...
Can you... I give the playoffs, I give the final the respect it deserves. It's a big accomplishment, and it's massive congratulations to the 3 teams who've made it tonight, and to all 6 in general. And yeah, got to respect the playoffs, respect the final, give them the celebration, and then once that's over with, then we can let the fun begin.
Can I just say on that Fyfie, can I just say on that Campbell comment, I've literally just said I'm not putting myself in any discussions for anything until it's over. I'm just making the point that we were so shit for 10 games and basically qualified for the playoffs over 16 games. I totally accept we shouldn't have been as shit, but just fucking point of discussion. You know what I mean?
What was that last stat you put up then, Fyfie? I do apologise, I missed that last one.
That's right, that was the shots on target percentage.
Interesting there. Right.
So Fyfie, as someone impartial, let's almost do kind of like an elimination from your view here. So let's get the fixtures up, and let's tell us. You tell us what your forecast is saying.
Okay, so Haggis eliminate Gazelles over 2 legs, but I think it's tight. I think there's not a lot of goals in it. But I do think Haggis maybe get a draw and a win over the 2 legs. I think Dragons Vikings could be anything. It could be fucking 10 goals over 2 legs, or it could be done by 1 goal. I think I'm gonna say Vikings do it, but I think both sides win a leg. And that will leave Vikings Haggis. I think Vikings will dominate the game, but Haggis will win that. And they will play Coast, who will lose out to Burn over 2 legs. Coast will then beat Haggis to play Burn again, and Coast beat Burn in the final. If for no other reason than if all that comes true, Maka out of absolutely nowhere, having probably come and won the CMSL Shield and is basking in his own glory, will then say Dimble won it because he built the fucking save and then disappear into the wilderness. But there you go. There's my prediction for how it pans out.
Yeah. I can't see Vikings doing Dragons over 2 legs. That's just my opinion. Not in the form that Dragons are in. Apart from that, I think everything else was pretty fair. I could not tell you either way between Haggis and Gazelles. Gazelles have just beat Haggis. That's my only kind of inkling, and Gazelles look good again tonight. They're in good form. Yeah, I think it'll be tough for anyone to go to Northern Burn and win, even in the final. So yeah.
And then Fyfie, who's your pick for the Shield?
Well, it depends on who's in charge of the respective clubs.
I'm not taking over till next season for Fulchester.
Okay, so if they treat it like they treated the other cup competitions, then most managers will treat it with relative disdain, and that will mean that I think Mike might win it because he'll want Astor to go into the new season with a bit of momentum. I mean, if I just go quickly back to the league table to remind myself who's playing who, Casual should beat Astor, but it depends if Hodgie takes it seriously. If he doesn't, Mike will beat him.
I mean, the interesting thing, sorry to interrupt, the interesting thing now is this was this tonight in terms of the how things have played out. This was Hodgie's self-imposed deadline to announce what his plans were.
Yep. Fulchester absolutely smash Rose because they've been dreadful. So whether it's Ryan or it's Macca, if they treat it with any sort of commitment and integrity, they beat Rose.
They drew last week with Rose on Thursday. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a very kind of I mean, if they take it with any integrity, they smash. Well,
yeah, but that's on the assumption that other teams are making changes.
Yeah, I just think I'll let you continue, Fyfie. I was just going to say that this end of season Shield isn't interfering with league games. No one's concerned about picking up an injury as much. I hope and think managers will take it. I mean, they'll really go for it with this. It's knowing that it's.
Let's hope so.
It's hoping that they get something on the name.
I think Triple P beat Celtics. Because I've slagged Rob off so much, he's just won the cup, and he'll probably be the guy to go and win the double now. He'll go and win the 2 cups. And then you've got Stanley Badgers. That's the one it would be difficult to call, but I'll say Badgers. And then it depends who draws who realistically. But out of the teams in it, I would say Fulchester would be my pick to win it of those 8.
I would say if Swanee and Scott get their shit together and sort a tactic file out that is, on it and serious, and Hodgie goes, Bostock should be walking that cup.
Yeah, but there should be. But then I think that when you've also said, 20 minutes ago, that Casuals arguably have one of, if not the best squads.
Yeah, but I think, he says it out loud. He doesn't give a fuck, does he? And I think any new manager coming in, probably it's a shoot off. It's probably too soon to get to grips with what your squad has and what it hasn't. I think Bostock would be my pick if Swanee and Scott can kind of get the house in order and just get it back amongst it. And what a great way. Listen, I've been there where I've been out of the playoffs and you're kind of twiddling your thumbs for the last 3 weeks of fixtures. This is what everybody asked for, which was something to play for at the business end for people who didn't qualify. So, and it's a great platform to test things for next season as well. So I hope we see interesting things. I hope we see strong sides and some good games.
So to clarify a couple of things before we finish, because Tato and Steve both said they're playing their first team squads. All six teams in the playoffs will be able to do the reserve swaps as normal to have their squad of 24. For the cup squads, full squad will be available, so you'll have first team and reserves available to play. I also wanted to that I've obviously put in the thing in today. I hope that you find a way of incorporating the wheel into the new Super League. I know everyone would love it if it makes an appearance somewhere along the line. The only other thing that I'm happy to clarify off air is Mike is still in charge of Australia. And before the new season, we were going to do a single stream where he was going through the World Cup. Are you guys still happy for us to go through that on the basis he still picks reserve players, as was the agreement at the start of the season?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll keep people occupied while we're trying to kind of process the admin side of things for the new season as well. Fyfie, can I just ask a quick question? Sides that are in the top 6, if we were to get a really bad injury in the middle of the
you would be allowed to swap it.
You would, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, same rules as, because it's competitive, it's the same rules as the league season. So you'll be allowed to swap, absolutely. Schedule-wise, as I put in the group the other day, I can't do this coming Thursday, so the playoffs will start next weekend. I can't do Friday because the pod, so I might try and do a Saturday and a Sunday, but no promises yet.
Yeah, I was thinking it's just a single game, isn't it? The first game of the thing, so you could literally have it done in half an hour.
That's possible. Yeah, it's just the one. Let me see what I can do. But yeah, we'll get going this week, and the playoffs. Within the next fortnight, everything will be done, and we'll know who the season 12 champion is. But good luck
and I'm really looking forward to seeing transfer content kind of in between now and then. I'm hoping people have got good announcements and good content lined up.
Mendonca has history v Fulchester.
What's he on about? Does anyone know?
I give up. I lose track. I've been involved in this far too long to remember what Steve's little quips mean.
Anyway,
Wheel should be used for game order.
Fyfie, absolutely class as always, mate.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
And a 26 game solo slog, Fyfie. Like, fucking hats off to you, mate. I know we're demanding bastards at time, but you keep us sane with just this. So yeah, hats off to you, Fyfie, mate. And I hope you're going to be a part of the kind of 4-5 horseman model for a long time yet.
Yes, I'll still be involved in the background and doing my little bit here and there and throwing in my contrary opinion just for lols, if nothing else. But looking forward to see what you guys do with it.
I hope you get a club soon as well. That's the other
thing.
Yeah,
absolutely, mate. We need as many.
There's a couple of people above me in the list, as we know. So I'll get there eventually. It's on the way. But thank you very much for your time. Thank you, everyone in the chat. And we'll see. I'll announce the first playoff fixture in the coming days. But for now, that is my last regular season game done as solo chair. And it's been one hell of a ride. Let's enjoy the playoffs and the CMSL Shield. Good night.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.